Manuka Mastery for Nutrition Professionals awards 1 CPEU in accordance with the Commission on Dietetic Registration's CPEU Prior Approval Program. The responsible provider for this activity is UMF Unique Manuka Honey Association of New Zealand. Funding from non-CPE revenue for CPE planning, development, review, and/or presentation has been provided by UMF Unique Manuka Honey Association of New Zealand. Barbara Roos, MS, RDN, has the following relevant disclosures to report. She is a consultant to UMF Unique Manuka Honey Association of New Zealand. Campbell Nash has the following relevant disclosures to report. He is an employee of UMF Unique Manuka Honey Association of New Zealand.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us today to learn more about Manuka honey from New Zealand. I'll admit, when I was first introduced to Manuka honey, I was a bit of a skeptic, as any credentialed health professional and researcher should be. But after immersing myself into learning more about it and exploring the vast amount of research evidence, I was hooked. Today, I'm here to share some of that knowledge with all of you. I'm Barbara Roos. I'm a registered dietitian, and presenting with me today are Dr. Megan Granger, the director of the Honey Research Unit at Waikato University in New Zealand, as well as Liam Gavin, a leading beekeeper and Manuka honey producer in New Zealand's North Island. You'll also hear from my esteemed colleague, Campbell Nash of the UMF, or Unique Manuka Factor Honey Association, also in New Zealand. Over the course of this presentation, we will take you through the important things you need to know about Manuka honey. First and foremost, it's important to know the origin, why and how New Zealand produces this magnificent honey. Then you'll learn more about why Manuka honey is considered the most complex honey on the planet. Unlike other honeys that may also have antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant properties, Manuka honey is so much more, and so much more complex, and is world-renowned and used across the globe, not only for wound care, but also consumed as a functional food by millions. As an example for wound care and topical usage, it's notable for its ability to treat antibiotic-resistant infections, including MRSA, E. coli, and dozens of others. Quite frankly, it's remarkable. And we won't stop there. You'll also learn more about Manuka and how it's used for GI disorders, respiratory illnesses, dental issues, as well as so much more. With all of these benefits, it's vitally important that we spread the word about New Zealand's unique quality certification system. It's called the UMF. It's the Unique Manuka Factor, and it's the only quality assurance for honey around the globe. Because it ensures potency, authenticity, freshness, and shelf life, it's a logo that you can trust when buying Manuka honey. So we have a lot to cover today, but make sure you get through all of the different units and make sure you get to the end of the presentation because there's so much information all along the way. At the end of this, I want you to feel confident about Manuka honey, what it delivers, and how you can recommend it to others in your practice. To get started, we first need to turn back about 1,000 years to better understand what makes Manuka honey so special.
Deep in the South Pacific, isolated from the world, New Zealand has a unique natural environment like no other. Take our Manuka tree. Science shows that it split off genetically from its nearest cousins over 9 million years ago. Here, shaped by our unique climate, geography and geology, it evolved into a very special tree.
As the indigenous people of Aotearoa, New Zealand, we as Maori named the Manuka tree and were the first to recognise its remarkable properties. We used its bark and foliage in our natural healing traditions for nearly 1,000 years. It has long been used in rongoa Maori. I've used it myself, the traditional Maori healing system, which encompasses herbal remedies, physical therapies, and spiritual healing. It was already a valuable resource when something special happened. The honeybee made its way to New Zealand, the bee met the Manuka tree, and the result Aotearoa's utterly unique Mānuka honey, demonstrated to be beneficial for health with hundreds of research papers backing this up. Honey from other origins do not offer the same health and wellness benefits.
(1839) in New Zealand was a time of great change. European immigrants began to settle among Aotearoa New Zealand's Maori people, and there was cross-pollination of ideas, language, culture and experiences. Into this period of discovery sailed bee enthusiast Mary Brumby, thought to be the first person to bring the honeybee to New Zealand's shores.
Mary's bees quickly took to their new home and a new source of nourishment, the Mānuka tree, and produced the world's first Mānuka honey. Over the decades, as the bees spread and the honey flowed, we beekeepers started to observe what Maori already knew. Working with Mānuka seemed to help with cuts, grazes, bruises, and inflammation. As the next century progressed, Mānuka honey became a go-to remedy. By the 1960s, many New Zealand organizations were using Mānuka honey bandages to dress wounds. This foreshadowed scientific recognition of Mānuka honey as a natural health product. All thanks to nature, bees, and a very special tree. We are the stewards of the hive. As beekeepers, one of our roles is to be tuned into the environment around us and what's blooming and ready for the bees to collect. To ensure that the bees are happy and healthy in order to produce all that lovely honey that we get, we inspect the colony every 3 weeks. We ensure that their queen is healthy and happy. And it's really important that we help manage pests and diseases. And then we also take good care of them.
Hey everyone, it's Liam Gavin here. I'm a fourth generation beekeeper based in the top of the North Island, New Zealand. We've been producing Manuka honey for probably 113 years now. At the start, we probably didn't know we were producing Manuka honey, but as time went on, my grandfather and great-grandfather, they started to see this different type of thick honey that was hard to produce. So we have been part of that chain for a very long time. Bees arrived in New Zealand in 1839, and it took quite some time before beekeepers observed the health benefits of the Mānuka honey. So they started to notice that it would be good to heal wounds and grazes and things like that. There was already a bit of knowledge in the Maori community that Mānuka was used for healing properties. The Mānuka plant itself was used for healing properties. So I'm picking there was a bit of a correlation between the honey and the Maori communities talking and discussing using that as an option. So that's how it sort of came about. I know my grandfather, he always talked about, he knew something was in the Mānuka honey, but it was hard at that point in time. It was hard to tell. There wasn't the science and that sort of stuff. So the nectar contains about 2,300 naturally occurring components to make it up. So if you want to compare that against other honeys like clover, for example, which has about 90 properties, it gives you a good understanding on how much more complex and rare this honey is really compared to most honeys around the world. So monofloral versus multifloral, you'll probably hear this definition a little bit. The monofloral honey means that it comes from a region where there's dense Mānuka. So a bee doesn't necessarily go out and gather Mānuka because we like it to. I'd like to train them to go and gather Mānuka, but unfortunately we can't. So that means that we place our beehives in areas that is densely populated with Mānuka as much as possible. The monofloral is the UMF group, they only certify monofloral Mānuka honey. So if you want a honey that has all the bioactives and the tick of approval for consuming a health product, personally, I would be going down the route of the monofloral honey. I know my father was involved in the establishment of the UMF group back in the 1980s when they went to the Waikato University and talked to them about, they knew there was something in the honey, but they couldn't, obviously they were beekeepers, not scientists. So they engaged a group of scientists to work on this product with them. And once they discovered that, that's when they started the UMF group to protect the consumer and to certify that it was a legitimate Mānuka honey. And since time has gone on, we've then, as an industry, developed the multifloral and monofloral Mānuka standard. So multifloral honey has it's got some of the bioactives, but not the full makeup of what a monofloral Mānuka honey would have, and it's quite low in concentration of Mānuka honey. So you're not going to get those. You might get a base level of exposure to some bioactives, but if you want to be building a good immune system and having that full strength of Mānuka, you probably want to be consuming a monofloral. Mānuka flowers for probably only 6 weeks at the max. I've seen it flower for only 3 weeks at a time. So we get this question of, why is Mānuka honey so expensive? As a beekeeper, you get hit up, why is your honey so expensive? And we like to point out that essentially our business, we run all year for a 3 to 6 week window at making our income. So it's a very volatile crop to produce. It's not a high yielding plant, so it compared to some other floral sources. So the bees themselves don't necessarily prefer to go to that as a source, because it's not an easy high yielding honey. But we do our best to get them in these areas and make sure they can do that. So the other reasons why it could be a little bit more expensive, I know some regions have to use helicopters to access their Mānuka plantations because of the landscape. Luckily in Northland, we have a landscape that allows us to drive vehicles to most of our spots. But there's definitely accessibility, volatile weather patterns, and not being a favorable flower source compared to some of our other native plants. They would rather gather. So honey has a long life. Some people will bring up the fact that it doesn't expire and that they've found it in the Egyptian tombs. Personally, we've actually had a tin of honey sent back to us that's got our label on it, that's weighed in pounds, which would make it over 50 years old. We've done, so the honey can be stored for a long time. As soon as the bees have stopped gathering the honey, the Mānuka, we go and harvest as fast as we can, because on the beehive it's sitting at about 33 degrees, and I probably wouldn't recommend storing Mānuka honey at 33 degrees anywhere. So we harvest as fast as we can and process it through our extraction facility at a low, adding as minimal heat as possible. So just keeping it, treating it as a cold flowing honey. This keeps the compounds in the honey just much more stable, and I've seen honey that's been exposed to heat in it, and you can tell the makeup of it seems different. So we process the honey and store it in our shed that has extraction fans to cycle the air through the shed and keep it cold and keep it out of the sunlight. Sometimes when it gets to a certain age, the honey is then put into 4 degrees storage to keep its properties stable and stop it growing all the components of the honey that we don't want to go bad. So the Manuka trees, there's a lot of the land was naturally covered in Manuka back in the early days. You hear stories of the farmers actually burning it and breaking it back into grassland. So I know in Northland for a fact that if you were to leave a lot of the sheep and beef land, it would just regenerate in Manuka. So it's a plant that is naturally growing in the environment, and it helps with aiding the regeneration of other native species as well. It protects it because it's quite a low growing tree. It can help regenerate some of our bigger native trees to get their initial growth, and when they break through, they then can grow once they're established. So it's also being used a lot in the farming communities for waterway control. So it's a good source of consuming moisture, like fluid from the ground, so water from the ground and effluent runoff. So they plant the waterways around farms to soak up all their effluent runoff, and it's a really good plant for cleaning up that sort of environment. It has been used there's a few Maori communities that have been doing teat oils from the Manuka for many years now, and it's quite big in the Maori community for using their land to generate an income off. We work with some Maori trusts personally. There's some quite big Maori iwi operated businesses within New Zealand because a lot of their land is Manuka. They have gone down the path of creating businesses to use their land to create an income.
The healing effect of Manuka had been observed by the Maori people, and following the introduction of honeybees to New Zealand by beekeepers and honey producers. While it was considered common knowledge, it wasn't until the 1980s that science began to catch up with these real-world observations.
At the University of Waikato, Dr. Peter Molan was able to demonstrate that New Zealand's unique Manuka honey had genuine antibacterial properties and could aid the healing of many kinds of wounds. This research gave this remarkable honey the scientific stamp of approval, and today, hospitals around the world use clinically prepared New Zealand Manuka honey to treat slow healing wounds. Since Dr. Molan's early Waikato University research, scientists worldwide have continued to explore the possibilities for Manuka honey. All of these studies have sought to understand the bioactive mechanisms at work in the honey, which is no easy task. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Megan Granger. I'm a senior lecturer at the University of Waikato in analytical chemistry, and I'm also the director of the Honey Research Unit. Over the next 3 videos, I'll be taking you on a journey to explore the remarkable story behind Manuka honey and its health benefits. With antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant properties, there's no shortage to talk about. So let's dive right on in. As we heard in the video, Manuka honey is packed with bioactives. A definition for bioactives is currently on the screen. They are a substance or material that interact with living organisms and produce a biological effect. These effects are related to the body's metabolic and physiological pathways. For example, quercetin is a well-known bioactive found in fruits and vegetables, which has cardiovascular benefits, such as lowering blood pressure and reducing cholesterol levels. Spoiler alert, it's also found in Manuka honey. Manuka honey contains many other bioactive compounds as well. We'll learn more about these compounds and their effects throughout this video. In the late 1980s, the father of modern Manuka honey research, Dr. Peter Molan from the University of Waikato, discovered that Manuka honey contained a unique non-peroxide antibacterial activity. By the late 1990s, the topical benefits of Manuka honey were becoming well recognized. New Zealanders were using the honey to treat cuts and burns, and were even creating homemade dressings, and the reputation of Manuka honey was rising. Dr. Molan is recognized as the pioneer of research into the benefits of Manuka honey. His discovery and research on using Manuka honey for wound healing launched the global programs that have identified and proven scientific foundations for the multiple areas of bioactivity of this complex honey. It took almost 20 years before researchers were able to determine the key compound that was responsible for this non-peroxide antibacterial activity. And it was researchers from New Zealand and Europe who both independently discovered that this compound was methyl glyoxal, or better known as MGO. And this was discovered in 2008. MGO is not found in the nectar of the Manuka flower, but it converts over time from a compound called dihydroxyacetone, shortened to DHA, which is present in the nectar. And this is unique to Leptospermum species. And we'll talk more about the antibacterial activity of MGO shortly. While DHA and MGO are the best known bioactives in Manuka honey, there's also other compounds found in Manuka honey that have important bioactive properties. One of these is leptospermum, and this was identified in 2019 by Japanese researcher Yoji Kato. This is also a unique compound to Manuka. Not only is it used to authenticate Manuka honey, but in vitro research shows that it also inhibits anti-inflammatory pathways. Phenolics and flavonoids are bioactive compounds present in Manuka honey as well, and they have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and antibacterial properties. Methyl syringate is an example of a phenolic compound present, and it's known to have these anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. The range of bioactive compounds in Manuka honey and their health benefits are becoming better understood through the more than 1,000 scientific studies that have been conducted globally. What's remarkable is that researchers are confident that there are still more bioactives to discover in this complex honey. MGO is recognized globally for its unique non-peroxide antibacterial properties. But early on, researchers realized that it wasn't the only compound that was contributing to its antibacterial activity. And they realized this because they saw that MGO as a pure compound wasn't effective as Manuka honey with MGO in it. So the power of Manuka honey is that there are multiple unique compounds which are working together in a synergistic nature to enhance the antibacterial effect. Now, all honey has some antibiotic activity. Low water activity due to the high concentration of sugars and a low pH of the honey contribute to this antibacterial activity. Honey also contains varying levels of hydrogen peroxide. However, when honey is used topically on a wound, the hydrogen peroxide is destroyed by the activity of the enzyme catalase, which is present in the wound, and so it becomes less effective. So, what makes Manuka honey different to other honeys? Overall, the combined bioactives in Manuka honey are more powerful than MGO alone, like we've just talked about, but it also makes it more powerful than other honeys. This is first because unlike hydrogen peroxide, methyl glyoxal cannot be destroyed by the enzyme catalase. Then there's also these multiple modes of action that are preventing bacterial growth and helping to heal the wound. Examples of different modes of action at play in Manuka honey include the high osmolarity from the sugars, which help to draw lymph from the underlying circulation, which helps to accelerate the healing of the wound. And it also helps to remove bacterial toxins. It keeps the wound moist and helps it to effectively heal. Inflammation in a wound hinders its healing and also causes scarring. The anti-inflammatory bioactive compounds present in Manuka honey, such as polyphenolics and leptospirin, help to reduce this inflammation in the wound. Therefore, it's able to heal quicker and with less scarring.
What makes Manuka honey so intriguing for scientists is the fact that we've only scratched the surface of how it works and what it can do. Since Dr. Peter Molan's initial research, New Zealand Mānuka honey has been the subject of more than 500 studies by leading researchers from around the world, including the United Kingdom, Germany, and Japan.
The UMFHA Manuka ID project has identified 2,300 natural components in New Zealand Manuka honey, compared to just 90 in clover. There are complex synergies at work between these components, and even after nearly 50 years of research, science is still only in the early stages of understanding them all. It's an exciting field with so many more benefits yet to be discovered.
The Manuka ID project was carried out with support from the UMF Manuka Honey Association and was completed in 2016. This project analysed compounds present in Manuka honey as well as other floral honeys. And it was determined that Manuka honey has over 2,300 compounds. Some of the compounds present have antibacterial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and antibiotic benefits. And we're going to be talking more about these throughout the video. And this project was a really important part in establishing a definition for Manuka honey. The graph you see on screen here is data from the Manuka ID project. The y-axis shows us the number of compounds that are present in each of these honeys, and it highlights just how complex Manuka honey really is compared to the other honeys. International honeys listed, such as clover and honeydew, have only a fraction of the compounds present in Manuka. And it's the large number of compounds present in Manuka that's the most likely explanation for the high number of bioactive compounds and its properties. While many honeys in the world have a few bioactive compounds that are associated with health, no other honey has the wide array of compounds like Manuka does. And this really excites us as researchers to learn all we can about the health benefits of Manuka honey. Honey is often overlooked as a nutritional food source due to its high sugar content. However, Manuka honey has all of these other compounds in it that set it apart from table honeys and refined sugar. Research has shown that the natural sugars in Manuka honey have a slower release than our table honeys and refined sugars. And additionally, it also contains nutrients and these bioactive compounds. And in combination and in moderation, are generally considered a good part of a quality diet. Enjoyed daily in sensible amounts, either as a natural sweetener or as a spread, Manuka honey can contribute to a really good diet by adding both the micronutrients and these compounds with bioactive properties. And of course, it's a delicious way and simple way to incorporate nutrients into our meals. Polyphenolic compounds are secondary plant metabolites that protect the plant from external stresses. These compounds are produced in the plant and they differ depending on the botanical origin. And this is the reason why we're seeing these large differences in the number of compounds between Manuka honey and other floral honeys. There are two classes of polyphenolic found in nectar and hence in the honey. One of these is phenolic acids, and the second is flavonoids. Both class of compound have antioxidant properties, and this means they're able to scavenge free radicals in the body to prevent oxidative damage to cells, and they help to reduce the risk of chronic disease, such as cardiovascular. While other honeys contain a few polyphenolic compounds, maybe at elevated levels, Manuka honey contains many of these polyphenolic compounds, often some of them at elevated levels, and these work together to create that antioxidant benefit. And it's really the total concentration of these various compounds which make it beneficial. Phenolic acids found in Manuka honey include gallic acid and syringic acid, while flavonoids that are present are ones like quercetin and luteolin, and this is just to name a couple. It's the phenolics in honey that give it a slightly bitter taste, and they also contribute to the darker color of Manuka honey. Phenolic compounds are already well known to nutritionists, and this is due to their prevalence in fruits and vegetables and because of their health benefits. With more research emerging, these compounds are becoming increasingly recognized as playing a significant role in the observed bioactivity of Manuka honey. In the next video, we'll look at a range of conditions that Manuka honey may be able to treat due to the presence of these compounds. Manuka honey is highly valued in China and Japan, as well as other countries, to help soothe digestive discomfort and improve gut health. Initially, due to the antibacterial effects in Manuka, it was used to balance the gut bacterial growth, and this was particularly used to combat H. pylori, which causes stomach ulcers. Research now suggests that Manuka may have a prebiotic effect due to the presence of oligosaccharides, and these are working in synergy with the antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds found in Manuka.
So researchers get very excited about New Zealand Mānuka honey and its undiscovered opportunities and applications for its bioactive properties. All over the world, researchers are exploring new ways that Mānuka honey may provide a natural support to well-being. New Zealand Mānuka honey is currently already used in a range of remedies in a range of situations. And its antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties support skin health. Medical grade Mānuka honey products are also used in wound care around the world. Research shows that honey soothes the symptoms of coughs and colds, and Mānuka honey, with its particularly high levels of antioxidant activity, may help support the immune system. Honey products have even been used and developed for oral health. And it's particularly sought out by consumers for its gut health benefits. So many of these applications use Mānuka honey straight from the jar, but New Zealand Mānuka honey is also used in lozenges, in oral sprays, in topical ointments, and medical grade Mānuka honey is used in wound gels and infused into wound healing bandages. That's an amazing range of uses and products for something made by nature, and we still only know a fraction of what it can offer.
Research into the health benefits of Manuka honey increases every year, driven by commercial, industry, health, and the academic sectors. Broad potential of Manuka honey has been identified through in vitro, animal, and limited clinical trials. However, there is still so much we can learn. Current research is focused on developing greater knowledge of the key health benefits, with a particular interest in these polyphenolic compounds. In 2025, the Honey Research Unit based at the University of Waikato in New Zealand was re-established to help drive and coordinate global research into Manuka honey benefits and its modes of action. Through the next slides, we'll learn more about the uses of Manuka honey that have been shown through scientific studies. And you can see a list of them up on screen now. And what we're going to see is a continuing theme that it's the compounds that have these antibacterial, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory properties that make Manuka honey stand out from all other honeys. The first use of Manuka honey was as a topical wound dressing. Even nearly 40 years after identification of its wound care benefits and antibacterial effects, researchers are still continuing to learn how it's been so effective to become accepted in hospitals around the world. While for a long time it was known that MGO was the key compound to its antibacterial effect, it's become increasingly evident that it actually works in effect or in combination with the pH, the osmolarity, and as well as these antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds that are present in Manuka. And these are compounds such as methylsyringate and quercetin, and also the unique compound leptospirin. When it's used on the wound, the multimodal action and synergistic activity of all of these compounds are now recognized as playing a significant role. Additionally, research has shown that the use of Manuka on wounds also helps to enable antibiotics to be more effective. But it doesn't stop there. Research also shows that Manuka honey is able to stop antibiotic-resistant bacteria when all other conventional medicines are no longer able to work. And this is a pretty exciting finding. From studying wound care, scientists have developed a really strong understanding of the topical benefits of Manuka honey, and therefore it started to be used as a skincare application. In skin conditions related to bacterial infections and inflammatory responses such as eczema, dermatitis, and acne, research shows that Manuka honey can have a positive impact on treating these conditions. Modes of action that make Manuka honey good for these topical applications are similar to those that are used for wound care, balancing the pH and moisture, and also combating inflammation pathways and preventing bacterial growth. And this all helps the skin to heal with limited scarring. Research into the antibiotic properties of Manuka honey have also identified multiple applications for use in oral health and dental care. Again, it's the antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties that are found to be effective in the moist, bacterial-filled environment of the mouth. Manuka honey can prevent biofilms in the mouth because it's able to inhibit the adherence of the bacteria onto the teeth, which cause the dental plaque. Additionally, the anti-inflammatory properties help to reduce gum disease and bleeding. Small clinical trials that have used Manuka honey in surgery of the mouth show that it helps to promote healing, helps resist infection, and it also supports antibiotics. Historically, MGO has been the best understood mechanism in Manuka honey due to the enormous amount of research that has been carried out. But it's now becoming more evident that it's not just MGO that's doing the heavy lifting here. And what we're seeing is it's these bioactives that are contributing to the healing as well. Leptospirin, methylsyringate, and the distinct combination of other antioxidant compounds found in Manuka are being identified in modern research as an essential part of the topical and internal benefits of Manuka honey. With international interest in gut health, probiotics, and the microbiome, there is more and more research building up on the role of how Manuka honey can help benefit this area. Research is starting to identify what the Chinese have known for decades, that it's able to help in the gut. And as we talked about before, Manuka honey is good for stomach ulcers that are caused by the bacteria H. pylori. Expanding evidence from European research now shows that Manuka can also help people that suffer from reflux. And as previously mentioned in the previous video, we know that there is the potential that Manuka honey also has this prebiotic effect due to the oligosaccharides. And we require a bit more in vivo research to show just how beneficial it is. Honey is well known and also scientifically proven to help soothe sore throats and ease coughs. Manuka honey is no exception to this, and there is a growing body of evidence that the benefits of Manuka honey go much further than just another floral type of honey. The combination of the MGO with antioxidants and the anti-inflammatory activity have been identified to fight bacteria that are present in the throat. Additionally, there's increasing evidence that Manuka honey is an effective natural alternative to antibiotics for upper respiratory tract infections. As mentioned earlier, due to the multiple modes of action, bacteria are not able to gain resistance to honey, and so it's able to be used when conventional treatments are no longer working. Additionally, there's also published research that shows Manuka honey in combination with antibiotics is actually a more powerful combination against certain bacteria compared to either treatment when used alone. Research is now also emerging that Manuka honey could support the immune system. And given all the other modes of action of Manuka, it's not really surprising that it might be able to do this as well. Protecting, supporting, and helping the immune process in the body is incredibly complex. But scientists are starting to gain a new insight into this exciting area. Different elements of Manuka honey's vast number of bioactive compounds have been shown in multiple studies as having potential immune system benefits. It's well established that the antibiotic effect of Manuka honey helps the body fight infection when the immune system is lowered and traditional antibiotics are ineffective. And new studies are actually showing that Manuka honey may be able to fight viruses which threaten the integrity of the immune system. Manuka honey appears to be able to stimulate the body's production of cytokines, which is signaling proteins helping to control infection and inflammation. And hence it's able to help the body mount this defense against these bacteria and foreign substances. A study recently conducted in 2022 reported that Manuka honey can activate the immune system, leading to an increase in immune cells. And this shows that there is the potential of Manuka honey to be used as an immunomodulatory agent. It's early days yet, but there is potential that it could help boost the immune system in cancer immunotherapy. As researchers learn more about the complexity of Manuka honey, they are increasingly looking at its role in metabolic health. There are signs it may be able to help lower blood glucose levels and post-meal blood glucose spikes. While more clinical trials are necessary, both on Manuka honey and other honeys, evidence to date suggests that honeys, including Manuka, may exhibit glycemic control and lipid levels when consumed within a healthy dietary pattern. There's ongoing research into the role of Manuka honey in cardiovascular health and other diseases. And while there's already a good body of evidence to show the benefits of Manuka honey, there's still a lot we can learn. There is definitely enough research to keep scientists busy for years to come. And this includes understanding the mechanisms on how the compounds in Manuka honey interact with the body, and also interact with each other to create this synergistic nature, as well as discovering new ways in which Manuka honey can support human health. So watch this space. There will definitely be more research to come on the amazing properties and benefits of Manuka honey.
There's a lot of honey products on the market. If you're looking for products with real health and wellness benefits, you need to know you're choosing the right thing. Otherwise, you might find yourself with something that tastes good but doesn't do much else. The most important thing to look for? That it's authentic, independently certified New Zealand Mānuka honey. Our honey is unique, and other honeys that claim they're the real thing just don't stack up. New Zealand's Mānuka honey is the best natural honey for health in the world. So what does a purchaser need to look for?
New Zealand Mānuka honey is the best in the world, and we want the world to know that's exactly what they're getting in every single jar. To assure all this, your honey should have the certified UMF Quality Mark. Firstly, this means it is confirmed as authentic Mānuka honey by the New Zealand government, the only government in the world to develop an identification test. Secondly, you can trust that certified honey's bioactive properties will still be present when a customer purchases it. Uncertified honeys may have no benefits or can lose their activity levels over time and no longer meet the claims on their label. Third, it means the Mānuka honey is authentic, produced, packed and sealed in New Zealand and untouched until it is opened in homes around the world. In addition, the UMF Quality Mark also means that the New Zealand Mānuka honey is traceable, so you can view the test results and quality certification for each certified jar using the UMF website and database. It's a system designed to give you full confidence that what you buy is exactly what it says it is, New Zealand Mānuka honey that's good for your health.
Hi, I'm Campbell Nash from the UMF Manuka Honey Association. We work with honey producers and exporters in New Zealand to certify the quality of all of the very best honey that's leaving New Zealand. As you will have worked out by now, New Zealand Manuka honey is one of the most exciting, truly natural health products available today anywhere. And it's clear that it needs to be well looked after to maintain the quality and the health benefits. So once the Manuka honey leaves the beekeeper, what steps are taken to ensure health professionals and consumers can find high quality Manuka honey? As mentioned, New Zealand is the only country with an independent multi-step Manuka honey quality process. The circled portion of this slide shows the key steps post-harvest that are used to assure Manuka honey potency, authenticity, freshness, and shelf life. Firstly, even before they finish harvest, beekeepers send the honey from their hives to check the basic identity of the product, its bioactive strength, and simple quality parameters. Honey is then extracted into batches, categorized by bioactivity levels, and prepared to be packed for retail. At this stage, before final packing, it is tested again. It undergoes essential food safety tests. Then it undergoes the New Zealand Government Manuka Identification Test, which looks at key markers in DNA to confirm whether the product is either monofloral Manuka honey, multifloral Manuka honey, or another honey altogether. Finally, if the supplier of the honey is satisfied it is of high enough quality, they will put it through the independent UMF Honey Association 4-factor quality test. Only products processed, packed and sealed into retail packs in New Zealand to avoid any adulteration can carry the UMF quality mark to ensure they have not been tampered with or adulterated anywhere else. The quality system does not stop in New Zealand. The UMF Association runs an international quality verification program, testing certified honey once on the shelf in international markets. This ensures that the supplier's supply chain is taking good care of the product throughout its life. With so many bioactive properties present in Manuka honey, beekeepers early on recognized the need for ratings and quality verification. And so they set up the UMF Honey Association over 25 years ago. It was first designed to help consumers navigate the different honey strengths when the antibacterial activity of Manuka honey was first discovered. Then, as research progressed, It was expanded to assure the quality of multiple bioactives and give consumers confidence in what they were purchasing. The combination of factors tested guarantees the potency and the quality of Manuka honey, and the system is used by the majority of New Zealand exporters. The UMF Quality Mark is the symbol of trust for monofloral Manuka honey. It is recognised among consumers, wholesalers, retailers, and health professionals in at least 60 countries. As understanding about the complexity and synergies of Manuka honey grew, the UMF 4-factor quality test was developed to give purchasers confidence via the rating. The potency of all bioactive factors in Manuka honey will be present throughout the shelf life of the product. The factors tested cover the critical elements to verify a unique product. MGO, DHA, and leptospirin are all important bioactives with minimum levels per grade, as we will see shortly. MGO and DHA are related to the antimicrobial activity of Manuka honey, as well as DHA being an important shelf life marker. Leptospirin is both an anti-inflammatory bioactive and only found in Manuka honey, so very important for authentication of the product. Finally, HMF or hydroxymethylfurfural is an important marker used worldwide to check for the aging and overheating of honey. Ensuring this is under 40 milligrams per kilo for the life of the honey is essential to protect the bioactivity of Manuka honey. In addition to the support of the authenticity tests in New Zealand, consumers can actually trace every jar of honey that is UMF certified right back to the test results. It's important to note that there is a medical grade of Manuka honey which sits in a category of its own. Rather than a health food, medical grade Manuka honey is classified as a medical device. So what's the difference? Simply put, the honey you use as a sweetener, as a spread, or to cook is generally a table honey. Delicious, but not particularly well known as a health product. This includes multifloral Manuka honey, which has a delicious Manuka flavour, but not demonstrable health benefits. Monofloral Manuka honey in a jar with a rating of UMF 5+ or more is a natural health product. UMF only certifies natural health products. However, it has been prepared for use at home and not in clinical environments, and it's not recommended for use on open wounds. Medical grade honey, which may come in band-aids, wound dressings, or as an ointment, has additional sterilization steps and processing to avoid any possibility of natural microbes or contaminants irritating or entering wounds. Medical grade honey is ultra-filtered and irradiated, and you will find products that are FDA approved and EU approved in hospitals around the world. When you look at a range of Mānuka honey products, different brands can sometimes use different ratings, which can be confusing. Look for UMF, the original and only comprehensive rating and quality system for genuine Mānuka honey. It was first developed by New Zealand beekeepers who wanted to ensure people worldwide purchasing honey for their health could do so with confidence. The UMF Quality Mark and rating tell you that the 4 most important factors for Mānuka honey, bioactivity, authenticity, purity, and longevity, have been tested, certified, and approved for sale. And you can be sure the product will be true to its label claims for the life of the product.
UMF also provides an independent assurance that the honey has been produced within a facility that identifies as meeting industry quality and safety standards, giving you the confidence product is authentic and delivering the health benefits you expect. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between the UMF rating and MGO? Manuka honey has over 2,000 components, of which MGO is a snapshot of just one. UMF, on the other hand, measures multiple factors that test key bioactive components important for health and test the quality of the honey so purchasers know that what they are purchasing is true to label for the life of the product.
So, what makes the UMF rating so important? In a crowded world of honey and natural health products, not only is the UMF rating integrated into the wider honey quality system run by the UMF, but it is also a rating that tells you the honey you are looking at is a certified natural health product. It measures multiple complex bioactive compounds, their content, and assures their lifespan. It is the only potency rating that incorporates multiple quality factors. And it is the only system supported by an online traceability system. Over the years, brands have experimented by developing multiple different rating systems for Manuka honey. However, after all this time, there is still only one rating system that gives consumers interested in the health benefits of Manuka honey the potency and quality information that they need. These are certification done by a third party independently, confirming it's Manuka honey, confirming there are sufficient bioactives present in testing to be a health product, authenticating that it is genuine Manuka honey from New Zealand, the only place in the world with the Manuka tree, that the bioactives will remain at the promised level on the label for the life of the product. The honey is pure and free from additives. It's never been overheated or excessively aged, and it can be traced back to New Zealand and the original test results for those concerned about quality of product on shelf. As you can see on this chart, UMF's designed an extensive system where, as the majority of other systems used over time are very narrow and are not nearly as carefully constructed to cover all the things that anyone buying Manuka honey should be concerned about. So what do the ratings actually mean? And how does that affect the use of the honey and what to choose or recommend? The original test for UMF rating was done over 25 years ago using a well diffusion assay. A honey solution, a phenol solution, and a bacteria were added to an agar plate, and the UMF rating is the diameter in millimeters of the area of bacteria that was killed by the honey, and this was validated by the phenol solutions. As scientists have learned more about the compounds in Manuka honey, this process has been refined and made easier by measuring better known chemical markers using modern systems. The first thing to know is that anything less than a UMF 5 lacks sufficient bioactivity to be classified as a health product. At the other end of the scale, the highest UMF rating identified to date is UMF 35 plus. This is an extremely scarce honey, and lower grades will typically provide all the bioactive benefits of Manuka honey that anyone needs. So, based on a teaspoon a day, a rating of 5 to 10 is a honey that has sufficient bioactivity to be considered a delicious natural sweetener with a moderate GI that can be part of a balanced, healthy diet. If you're looking at a honey between 10 and 20 UMF, this is the most commonly consumed Manuka honey and is typically used when people are feeling run down or feel they may be fighting off an illness. It is used to soothe throat issues or as part of an approach to a health issue developed with your health professional. Medical Manuka honey typically sits in the 10 to 15 plus range. Manuka honey rated 20 plus or more is generally used by people who want the higher bioactive content to address an acute health issue or to increase their consumption of Manuka bioactives while managing sugar levels in the honey. So we mentioned the 4-factor rating system earlier and that it measures multiple bioactives because Manuka honey works best through the synergies of the many bioactives in the honey. As you can see here, each factor has to meet a minimum level for each grade. So why do we measure these factors? Well, MGO is sometimes used alone as a rating. It is a key compound in the antibacterial function of Manuka honey. It looks like a big number and is included in the UMF 4-factor rating because, in combination with other factors, it is one of the important drivers of health benefit. However, it's important to note that for health purposes, never consider a product with less than 83 MGO. Sometimes you'll see a jar of honey that doesn't have the UMF, so the tip is make sure you're looking for product above 83 MGO, which you'll typically find in a UMF 5+. MGO doesn't tell you about other components in the honey or the shelf life, and not only that, it can actually be synthesized. So it's best to have your honey packed in New Zealand so that you're not getting a product with MGO added to it. Secondly, leptospirin is very unique, only from the family of Manuka trees. And so it's an incredibly important indicator. Also, no one has ever managed to make leptospirin, so it tells you the honey is pure and from New Zealand. And of course, it's not just an authenticator. It's been identified as being able to work as an anti-inflammatory in the body, and it was the first compound to be identified as crossing from the gut into the bloodstream in humans. DHA has several jobs. It's an anti-inflammatory agent gathered by the bees from the Manuka flower. The bees begin the process to convert DHA into MGO, which continues over time in hives and then while the honey is in storage. The DHA levels tell you that the MGO rating or the UMF rating will remain steady through the life of the product. So this rating system was developed by the beekeepers who wanted the world to have the best Manuka honey experience possible. And so UMF quality certification and rating has remained the most important system in this particular product category since its initial development. One of the benefits we see of this is there's very little in the way of counterfeiting or fraudulent product issues in market. When we do our quality validation in market, we have very few incidents of finding any product that's not a genuine UMF certified product. This is quite a major achievement because in surveys over the last 20 years, honey is consistently in the top 5 most counterfeited food products in the world.
If you're choosing a Mānuka honey because you want its health supporting effects, there are many brands available. So, here's a quick guide on what to look for on the label to ensure you're choosing a genuine Mānuka honey you can trust.
First, look for the UMF trademark and you'll find this on the front of the jar. Next, you need to look for a recognised rating system. UMF is the original and most comprehensive rating system for authentic Manuka honey. Look for any product with a UMF rating of UMF 5+ to UMF 30+. There should be a UMF license number, which you will find located on the jar here, and a batch number on the jar, which you can use to trace each jar's origin using the Traceability app at the UMF website. And finally, check that it's labelled as a product of New Zealand, which you will find on the front of the jar. Authentic Manuka honey is packed and sealed at source in New Zealand. As a global retailer, we know it's vital to have quality mark behind a product like Manuka honey. It gives us confidence that every jar is of consistently high quality and is backed by a brand owner who is committed to ensuring consumers only receive the best product. The quality mark tells us it's both a great quality product and that it's backed by fantastic customer service. And knowing it's part of a certified system ensures authenticity and traceability so you can get quality you can trust. New Zealand Mānuka honey is the best in the world, and we want the world to know that's exactly what they're getting in every single jar.
As with most products of real value, there are plenty of imitators trying to get on the bandwagon. But when it comes to your health and the price tag, it's important to be assured of the quality. That is why looking for the UMF logo is vitally important when purchasing Manuka honey products. As you've learned throughout this course, the UMF quality certification system was started by beekeepers to protect their natural resource and to assure customers that they were getting what they paid for. The UMF quality system tests for 4 factors: potency, purity, also known as authenticity, shelf life, and freshness. There's no other honey quality testing system like it. And it's the guarantee you want as a customer and as a clinician when buying New Zealand's taonga, or as the Maori indigenous people referred to it, treasure. There's multiple things to look for on the label that will assure you of the quality when purchasing Manuka honey. However, most importantly, it's the UMF trademarked logo. It's really the only thing you need to look for, because that logo means you're getting a bioactive potency rating, you're getting the quality assurance that it's from New Zealand, and you're also getting a traceable batch number. And just like we all love 2-factor authentication for our passwords, there's actually a 2-factor security check for Manuka honey as well. By using the license number and batch number that's found on any qualified UMF product, you can trace back to its quality certification system. As society lives longer, eating food for health is increasingly important. After all, it's cheaper not to get sick at all. Consumer interest in functional foods is growing as the food as medicine trend gains momentum. Manuka honey is a functional food that I urge clinicians and researchers to learn more about. It's 100% natural, it comes from one source, and it contains a unique and extensive amount of bioactive compounds and other components that add to its ever-growing health benefits. Furthermore, when we surveyed over 1,000 dietitians this past fall, we found that more than 50% were willing to recommend Manuka honey if they were given the evidence-based research to do so. One thing that never changes is the desire for affordable, high-quality food. Natural products are increasingly sought by consumers. This means they're looking for products recognizable as food. Manuka honey isn't just a sweetener. It's so much more, and it deserves its place next to blueberries and other naturally healthy foods. So, how can you incorporate Manuka honey into your preventable health routine at home? Around the world, it's frequently consumed straight off the spoon, at least once a day. Research suggests that heating honey above 140 degrees Fahrenheit can start breaking down enzymes. So prolonged exposure to temperatures above that could significantly reduce its bioactivity and antimicrobial properties. So for that reason, we don't recommend cooking with it or baking with it. It's fine if you want to add it to a warm beverage or a cold beverage as a topping on breakfast or yogurt foods, but we don't want you to cook it. For those concerned about the increase in consumption of sugar with more teaspoons, a higher potency UMF rating is a strategy for you to get bioactive benefits without increasing the amount of sugar consumed. And the good news is that there's plenty of ways to enjoy Manuka honey, as it comes in multiple different formats, from bandages and wound care dressings to single-use stick packs, to lozenges or throat sprays during cold and flu season, as well as to toothpaste and sport gels if you're going for a hike or a long bike ride. Manuka honey is increasingly being seen in conventional medical environments as well. You'll find it in hospitals, notably in burn units, long-term care facilities used for bed sores, clinics for dermatological care, as well as for dental surgeries. It's increasingly used as an adjunct with antibiotics for treatment against antibiotic-resistant infections. It's also used for gut health and peptic ulcers alongside other medications. Studies are also now identifying Manuka honey may play a role in addressing the side effects from chemotherapy treatments. And for all functional foods and medicines, there's always some food safety concerns to be aware of. Honey is not recommended for children under a year old. If you have an allergy to bees or bee stings, we'd always recommend that you consult your healthcare practitioner. And if you have blood sugar concerns or diabetes, we most certainly would ask you to consult with your registered dietitian or medical provider to find ways to safely incorporate it into your routine. And with that, where can you find Manuka honey? Well, you can find it almost anywhere. It's available in 60 different countries. You can also purchase it on almost any online retail store. You can find it at national and regional grocery stores and supermarkets and natural specialty markets. Buyers may not be informed about the UMF system, so you need to always be informed about looking for that UMF logo. My wish is that Manuka honey is sold as in the supplement aisle and that only UMF certified brands are available. It has so much potential as a health product. And with that, I thank you so much for your time and attention. And to receive credit for today's participation, please take the quiz and the evaluation, and we look forward to hearing from you more often in the future. Thank you.